We are live, guys. We are live with Elisa Valentino, Laura Eisenhower, Mike Barra in Vegas, and Mel Carmine in Merritt Island, Florida. Beautiful sunny sky. I'm not sure if they're spraying us today. I hope they're not, but I think we're going to have to reach out to Mr. RFK and get the record straight here on this spraying has got to stop. Obviously, he's got his hands full. We're trying to make sure that they stop poisoning the food. And they got their hands full with a lot of stuff. People are crazy. People want these people to come in and fix everything in 22 seconds when they've been screwing us for 100 years.
Yeah.
You know, absolutely nuts. Elisa, I know you have something you have prepared to prove that, yes, this is Nasara Jasara. I'm going to tell you what I know. I'm going to compare it to your notes, which are very similar to what we have at QFS1776.com, and we'll see how close we get. I know that we've been following the president coming on the airwaves, basically saying we're getting rid of the IRS. We're going to get rid of taxes on tips. We're going to get rid of taxes on, and it's been a gradual thing. It hasn't been like all at once saying we're going to get rid of the IRS. And then he goes on a live, event with, I think it was in your backyard, Mike, over there in Vegas. And he said, you know what, I think we'll just stick with the tariffs and get rid of the IRS altogether. And the crowd goes crazy. He goes on Joe Rogan, and he's slowly speeding it up because people out there, I don't understand. I don't think this is something to short circuit over. I'm saying, why are these people not normal? That they do that good of a job in drugging us and colgating us and scoping us with the scope and the mouthwash and the toothpaste and all the nonsense. They do that good of a job where people cannot handle something that is so simple to be able to handle. So I know that this is true. In the document, it also talks about advanced technologies, advanced healing modalities that can grow limbs. It talks about flying cars. It talks about cleaning of the atmosphere. There's a array of stuff. Everything that I've been talking about literally on the airwaves for the last almost 4 years since I've started this thing called podcasting, because I got bored out of my mind. And so out of COVID, Mel Carmine becomes a podcaster. I was going crazy living inside this gated community in Costa Rica. And the only thing I could do is drive my dune buggy inside the thing, because after 7 o'clock, you can't even go outside because we're under, a martial law type situation. And so here I am, and doing basically podcasting with a bunch of people that are like-minded, that talk about the same stuff that we talk about, the things that we could see clearly are literally underneath our nose. And a lot of people obviously can't see it. We had an incredible quantum summit, and my staff and our volunteers are all pushing Mel Carmine like crazy. Are you crazy? You got to do part 3. You got to do part 4. You got to do part 5 and 6 and so on. So here we are, literally in the beginning planning stages of that as we go.
Bring part 3 to Vegas, Mel. I'm telling you. Bring it out here to Vegas. Bring part 3 out here.
Everything's a possibility. We're not ruling anything out, and so we've had the Bahamas on potentiality of this. We had Orlando,
Puerto Rico. Mark Z loves Puerto Rico. It's a great place.
Puerto Rico. Who knows? We might go to Puerto Rico. Who the hell knows? It could be a cruise. It could be maybe an outer space. Quantum summit on Mars. What the hell? Can we do that, Laura? Do you know anybody? Could you get us to Mars?
I don't think they want me there now.
So, all of this technology that's coming that they've been hiding from us, out of 6,000 patents, folks, what is so special about these 6,000 patents? Why are they moving heaven and earth? Why are they moving mountains to make sure that these 6,000 patents, whatever these 6,000 patents are, that they don't get to humanity? Maybe do they disrupt their oil Ponzi scheme? Do they disrupt their medical Ponzi scheme? Do they disrupt their police officer Ponzi scheme? Because that's another Ponzi scheme. I'm not very fond of cops. I'm sorry. I can't respect police officers that pull people over that are doing 12 miles over the speed limit. I'm sorry. Okay. And then that money gets taken and it gets traded and they're making compound interest on top of it. You guys are just little pawns in a chess match. You guys are nothing. You're a bunch of dumb cockroaches. You're compartmentalized. You only know just so much so that the guys upstairs are making all the money. They're laughing at you while you're harassing people. And we're all paying into this crazy system that's basically here to harass us, and we're all paying into it, and we all want it to disappear. But it doesn't disappear because we're paying into it. And if you keep paying the monster just doesn't go away. But I think that those days are about to come to an abrupt end. Guys, welcome to the Mel Carmine Show, the Fourcast. Someday it might be a 5-cast. Some days it might be a 6-cast. I'm thinking about putting a male locker room with Jimmy, where it's gonna be like a weekly or a bi-weekly thing. I think he'll jump all over it, and I got to think of the right males to bring into that locker room because it's gonna be a lot of F curses, boy. I'll tell you. Welcome to the show, guys.
Hey, how are you?
Great to be here.
Good to be here.
Yeah. I want to tell you this the other day. I don't know if you guys can see my new Trump shirt. We have a Trump store here on Long Island. So one of my friends took me there the other night and I got my new Trump bling shirt. So I just wanted to add that really cool pop-up store over here. So Mel, I just want, we talked about that we were going to talk about, NESARA, GESARA, Department of GESARA, but for anybody who's not like 100%, we're always throwing around NESARA stuff, but just a really brief thing that we all know, and just to, we have to know that President Bill Clinton signed NESARA into law on October 10th, 2000, right? And we have to consider that. Okay, so what does it stand for? It's National Economic Security and Reformation Act. That's what NESARA stands for. We put the G in front of it. That's for global. And it was passed by the United States Congress on March 9th, 2000, and sent to President Bill Clinton for his signature. And it was supposed to be announced or enacted, if you will, on the morning of September 11th, 2001, right? But what a lot of people don't realize is that with any legislation, this is the law of the land at this point. And we have to look at a lot of the reasons why what happened on September 11th happened. And the day before, I believe it was Rumsfeld who said they lost, I don't remember what the exact number was. It was a certain $1 trillion they couldn't account for. And then next thing we know, the next day we've got this horrific event that happens in New York and DC that that we sort of overshadowed, and we never got to that enacting point. So that's what we're talking about now. What we've been saying is that there are all these tenets or rules of NESARA and what the law actually means, and we've been seeing, and we us guys have been talking about this now for a while, how every time some little event or not so little event happens, that President Trump announced something or Elon Musk is talking about something, or we're hearing all this stuff, that this is the sign that all the things that are under NESARA and the laws are true. And not like was they were
You're rugging,
Oh.
Elisa. Is there any other programs you could shut everything off? Just leave only one program on.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to shut down my notes here. No problem. I hope that's better.
Yeah.
As we said, no one was gonna come out.
Increase your internet bandwidth.
Okay. Are you hearing me now?
Mm-hmm.
Is it better? Okay. So no one was gonna actually come out and say, "Hey guys, tomorrow is NESARA," right? We knew that wasn't going to happen, but all these things that we're seeing happening, like you said about income tax comments, and now the state property tax was just announced in Florida. All these things are indications that little by little these parts of NESARA are starting to appear and make themselves known. And if you're aware, like we are seeing behind and beneath what these things really refer to.
Yeah, absolutely. Laura, you want to add something to that? Welcome to the show, Laura.
Oh, well, it's great to be here. I mean, I wouldn't say I have all the dots connected on all this. I mean, I have the astrological information that kind of backs up what's currently happening. I mean, the deep state is still very much in not control, but holds a lot of dominion still. And I mean, this is a showdown of forces right now. I mean, the Trump administration, like all presidents after Truman, have very little impact on the deep state control over the population of this planet without the people really rising up and holding themselves accountable to this shift of energy, meaning no longer consenting or complying to a lot of the old system has been. Now we see, a legitimate change happening. And I mean, it's definitely underway. But as we see like Hollywood crumble and we see everything, come into exposure, the amount of people that give it attention and stop feeding into those that are trying to cover it up and pretend it doesn't exist is a point, I feel. And that's the awakening to me is we're going to reflect on the outside the speed at which these changes happen. And that's what the astrology is really showing as far as Uranus being in Taurus. Taurus has to do with abundance, the financial, and our self-worth. So, I mean, I'm looking at the gold and silver aspect of it all, and just seeing this, kind of breakdown of the old and the rebuilding of the new is inevitable. So it's a transition. And with that transition comes a window of uncertainty where the supply chains might be down for a while. There might be periods of uncertainty of, what we get in the news. It's kind of covering up maybe some White House operations that are happening behind the scenes that we're not going to hear about, but are happening, right? And a lot of speculation about what that looks like and what it actually, might be doing is hard to discern, because a lot of people feel confident about their insiders, but there is still a lot of infiltration. So we just have to be as discerning as possible and stay strong and connected to our own intuition to navigate the madness, because there's so much Neptune right now, like the North Node in Pisces with Neptune conjunct with Saturn involved. There's the AI component. There's a lot of illusion. There's a lot of different tactics being used to really, create confusion. So it's going to take a lot of, personal, strength and discernment to be able to, move through all of this. And the best thing that we can do is support the higher good and the leaders that are out there, because a lot of people want to tear them down. And regardless of what might come to light as far as their past or their families or like where they've been and what they've done, we really need to see disclosure of the system that has blackmailed and manipulated and drugged people to play a certain role that they would have not otherwise played if they weren't under this level of manipulation, in order to turn some of those dark hats into maybe the white. And we're dealing with a massive epidemic of people that are monarch programmed or carrying altars or dealing with some severe MK Ultra or SRA abuse that are out there, that we want to flip to the good side by supporting the healing and supporting the recognition of that, so it can begin to have a domino effect and bringing out these positive changes on a much more massive scale.
Absolutely. But the fact that they know that this technology, you see, we've had people now that are worth hundreds of millions of dollars. The president is basically talking about the same stuff that's on the document, Nasara Jasara, which is document number 9 at the QFS 1776, which Elisa now has her own version of something else that very correlates exactly with that. And maybe it's a spin-off of, but it's basically talking the same language. And now it's become part of the mainstream fabric. Now it's out there. You can't put Pandora back in the box, because when you start to compare the notes, you can't just say no. You have to say, wait a minute, something's going on here, something of great significance. And we've had the foresight to be able to see the tea leaves way in advance. That's why some of us own the XRP for 9 years. Okay. And that's why some people are just buying it now at $2.30 when they could have bought it at 0.002 of a penny. Okay. And so the bottom line is there are modalities, there are technologies that are going to be massive disruption on levels that we can't even fathom. Part of me says, you know what, just release all of it, just let it all go, let's get it over with, and let the dust settle however it's going to settle. Part of me says you can't do that because it's going to be catastrophic. People need to eat, they got to feed their families, etc. Right? But we have technologies that will make the airlines obsolete, the health industry obsolete, the car industry obsolete. I mean, we can go on and on and on. These things right here that we have are cell phones. Here it is, amongst this whole mess that I have here on my desk. This is probably going to be obsolete. Who knows? Maybe we'll become telepathic and we could talk inside each other's minds without making all this noise pollution. And we could be in an airport and it could sound as quiet as a library because we were able to evolve. We were able to eat the right foods. We were able to become spiritual enough to get the fourth density, the fifth density, the sixth density.
That's exactly what the astrology is showing, is like we are literally stepping into that energy. But a major purification is taking place. And with the South Node being in Virgo, which has to do with our physiology, our physical lifestyle, our habits, what we consume. And then Mercury being the ruler has to do with the epigenetics. What is our mind telling our bodies? And that's where the mind control and social engineering has really taken a toll. And the bioweapons and the frequency modulations that have really caused the body to speak, or the mind to speak to the body in ways that degrade it or cause dis-ease. And so this purification and deprogramming and dismantling of this alien weaponry is going to begin to move that away. So each and every one of us that does that work and purifies and clears all that away will act as a conduit of the override frequency that will take down the dark weapons, because we are ultimately the higher technology.
Yeah. And another thing that they're probably afraid of is a lot of us being able to get our hands, because I'm a capitalist. I'm an entrepreneur at heart. I love entrepreneurship. That's why I came to America. I did not come here to get a job. I tried that. And I did it 5 times, and 5 times I got fired. I only held one job, and that was for Copy World. I worked for Frank Berardi, who was a gangster. True story. I could make a podcast only on that one alone. But they're afraid of people like myself who will get their hands on some of these things and make a tremendous amount of money on it. And they don't want the little people having money. Look at the level of manipulation on gold, silver, XLM, XDC, the dinars. We've been waiting for 15 years, but when they had it and they had the opportunity with Kuwait and they kept it tight-lipped, it happened overnight. Why? Because they were in control, and they're still in control today to some extent, because otherwise we would not be having this conversation. Right? Mike,
yeah. Sorry, I was just waiting for you to ask me a question. I didn't want to interrupt the ladies there.
No.
Yeah. The attitude is, Barack Obama stopped the RV once, and he said, we're really going to give all this money to the peasants. That's the way they look at us. So the reality is that all economies and all prosperity is built from the ground up, not from the top down. Central planning never works. So NESARA is sort of the anti-central planning concept. You get rid of the central banks, you get rid of the manipulations of the stock markets and the commodities markets, and you let everybody just engage in commerce. Somebody once said, I forget who it was exactly, I think it might have been Thomas Sowell, who said, capitalism isn't even an ism. It's just what people do naturally when you leave them alone. And that's what we have to free up. And that's what the concept is, I think, behind all of this NESARA JASARA stuff, is to give people back the money that they've had stolen from them. Again, at the Quantum Summit, I talked about the financial history of the country. I talked about the fact where money really comes from. It comes from your bank accounts at the Federal Reserve, at all 10 of them. You're worth billions upon billions, in there, and they've never told you that. They've lied to you. And, mortgages are all illegal. Car loans are all illegal. Credit cards are all illegal. Credit card interest is illegal, and we're going to get paid back for a bunch of that stuff. And it's interesting how Trump really hasn't talked about some of those aspects of it, but so many things he's saying. You've got all these people, little twerps like Jordan say, they're like, oh, there's no such thing as NESARA. Oh, yeah? Well, how come there's this list of stuff that's in NESARA and Trump keeps checking them off one at a time? No tax on tips, no tax on overtime, no tax on Social Security is going to lead to, guess what? No taxes. And he's even now thrown out, how about no income taxes below $150,000 of income? So that's all coming. That's all NESARA playbook. And of course, along with that, we have the 7 kingdoms coming, right? We have the idea that the earth is going to be sort of divided into these sections that are culturally connected. South American kingdom, the North American kingdom, maybe we'll be including New Zealand and Australia in that because they're English speaking. The Crown, England may become a subdivision of our much larger kingdom. So all these things are happening as we speak. Have you ever, can anybody remember a time when this has ever been seriously discussed, this kind of stuff? Oh, we're going to buy Greenland. I mean, most people don't even know you can buy a country. You can. It's been done before. But
you're Donald Trump and you got a bunch of guys that are called big balls. And the guy that's backed by $350 billion, you can do whatever the fuck you want.
Yeah, and it's like, Mike Myers with his Brave T-shirt. By the way, this is my FAFO T-shirt. Canada is not for sale. Oh yeah, it is. Guess what? When we cut off the $238 billion a year, you're going to be for sale, pal. You really are. So, and I mean, I don't know. What do we get out of Canada besides Leslie Nielsen, Shatner, and hockey? Other than that, I've lived there. I can't think of much that we want from them. But, all these changes are huge, as Donald Trump would say, Y-U-G-E, huge. And they're all coming. By the way, I predicted like almost all of this 14 years ago in my book, The Choice. Pick it up on Amazon.com. And it's all happening in front of our eyes. The proposals themselves are the blueprint. It's the presaging. It's letting everybody know this is the direction we're going, and where it's going to lead to is, again, I remember, what was it, 5-6 years ago it came out, one of the NESARA things, they're going to pay every American $100,000 just for being dicked over their lifetime, right? $100,000. It's like, well, how are you going to get to that? Well, now they're talking about the Doge checks for $5,000 a month. Oh, from the savings, when we all know there's an infinite amount of money on this planet. There's an infinite amount of wealth. It's just a question of how do you distribute it appropriately to encourage positive human behaviors as opposed to negative human behaviors, like, sticking the needle in your arm and sitting around playing video games stoned out of your mind all day. How do you encourage the positive aspects of humanity as opposed to the negative aspects? And so it's all coming together. It's all being laid out, and it's been laid out in what? Not even 2 months yet. It'll be 2 months in 3 days, Mel, and we already have all of this skeletal structural outline for the NESARA future that everybody tries to pretend, all of our critics deny even exists. And yeah, here it is. It's right in front of you, and I can't wait for some of this stuff to kick in. I mean,
absolutely.
I don't understand. Like I what I don't understand is people saying that they deny it, but it was signed into law. Like, you may want to deny it's going to happen.
Oh, that's fake. No, that's fake. That's fake, right? That's totally fake. I mean, I remember they'll say, what I'm saying is they say, no, that's fake. That he didn't really say any of that. There's secret protocols in a lot of these laws. Like Germany and Russia and Soviet Union had an agreement in 1939 about, a mutual non-aggression pact, right? But within that were secret protocols that said, by the way, we're going to split up Poland this way. Germany's going to take this half and you're going to take the other half. Nobody knew about that until after the war. So nobody's going to know what's really in this thing until after we get through this period of transition, right? So they'll say that stuff. Oh, doesn't really say that, but it does say that, and it is the agreement. I mean, we've heard it. I was told in 2015 that all these eastern areas of Ukraine were really Russian, and that Putin had been given those, that they were going to give those to him. NATO didn't like that. They're trying to fight it. But it's like they go in and they've gone exactly into the areas where the boundaries are that they agreed to in 2015, and the Russians haven't moved an inch farther in the net. You don't think they could have run over Ukraine in 2 weeks if they wanted to?
Right.
So, and I mean, the Baltics are all going to become Russian because Putin wants Kaliningrad, the little slice underneath Lithuania there, to be connected to Russia. So and then China and Taiwan are going to be reunited, not under the Chinese Communist Party, but under a new Chinese Republic. But people aren't ready for these massive changes yet. But it's like you look on the map and like, holy crap, Putin is occupying exactly the spaces that my military guy told me 7 years ago now, 10 years ago. Exactly what was going to happen. Gee, it must be a coincidence, Mel. I guess we're just lucky. We're the blind squirrel who found a nut, right?
Well, can you answer this question for Nurse Linda 630? She says, when you say no taxes, does that mean income tax or 7%? What about the federal tax that is 22%?
Yeah, it will be no income tax. And look, they may take this in incremental steps over a few years. They may reduce income tax to some blanket level of 10%. Like there's a proposal between it's AOC and Anna Paulina Luna to cap all credit card interest at 10%. That's just the first step. Because what they're going to do is everybody's going to freak out. So hang on, Elisa. Everybody's going to freak out. So what they want to do, I saw that you wanted to say something. I'm sorry. I know I can talk a lot. And once I get started, all the air gets sucked out of the room. I have to open the window to let some more air in here. But, they're just getting you used to it. And then the next phase will be nothing, because once people realize that they can give us this money every month, which is actually just them paying back for the fraud, and it doesn't affect the deficit and it doesn't affect the national debt, which are going to go away, then people are going to go, great, let's just keep it. So that's going to be an incremental phase, certainly within the first 4 years, but probably within another year or two, we're going to get to zero income tax. And I think the only tax we're probably going to be paying is sales tax on new items. And let's be honest, there's so much gold and so much silver and so much wealth out there that the truth is we don't need to pay any taxes at all, but they're not quite ready to tell us that truth. They're not quite ready to tell us that yet.
Not exactly. And I agree. They have to do it in increments. They got to do it in increments. Like, and I talk to some, I live in a pretty affluent neighborhood. Not that I'm a rich guy, but I'm not poor either. Okay. And I rent 1,700 square feet inside someone's mansion is what I do. So right now the smart people rent. Smart people don't own right now, especially with, property taxes and insurance and hurricane insurance and flood insurance. You can't get out from under. And I talk to these people here, liberal people, and they say, I said, you make $500,000 a year. Do you realize that no income taxes means an extra $100,000 a year minimum, maybe $125,000 extra on your income?
Your pocket?
Well, I don't like the way he's going about it. What?
Who cares?
What? Let me tell you something. That is called Stockholm syndrome anyway, because people are so used to being, they're so used to being in this prison system that for whatever reason, they start to freak out when they think that something that's been imprisoning them and harming them is going away. But what I was going to say before, Mike, to add to what you were saying, is that, again, like the document that Mel has on his site, QFS1776.com, is that it, or Quantum Summit 1776.com? That is very, that's the document. And so you have to kind of, but what if you look at it just where people have pulled out these kind of main issues of Nassar, I mean, it clearly eliminates the Federal Reserve System. And,
that's gone. Yeah.
And then if you look further, one of the other things is that it forbids the sale of American birth certificate records as chattel property bonds by the U.S. Department of Transportation. So where are we paying taxes? I mean, a 14% sales tax, maybe, on new items. So what's a new item? Is a used house a new item? No. A brand new car is a new item. Brand new computer is a new item. But there's not going to be any taxes on any of that stuff. And, again, remember the purpose of the income tax, Mel, you were talking about it earlier, is to keep people from becoming wealthy. Yep.
The fact is most of us make enough money actually to become quite prosperous over the course of our lives. So the thing is, the income tax doesn't matter to rich people because they're already rich. And the guys in Congress, because not only do they have things like the 1099 OID, but they have all these tax breaks, and they don't actually show income. They show very little income. Donald Trump has $400 million a year of income. He's worth $7 billion. That's not very much, right? So the idea is to keep taxing you as you ascend in your earnings to keep you from getting ahead in the game. Once that tax is gone, the prosperity is just going to explode all over this country.
And
Absolutely.
when we talk about the release of all these patents, so we're pretty sure, because it's been talked about, that some of these patents are going to include free energy, right? So like I think, Mel, you were saying before. So now, okay, so how much are we paying in our electric, which by the way is completely illegal anyway, but we won't get into that. And the gas bill, right? If you have gas, right?
Yeah.
And so everybody is neurotic, at least where I live, like, oh, don't turn the thermostat up because it's going to, then God forbid you get a space heater. Do you know how much that increases your electric bill? So like every which way you look, they have screwed us. I was driving down, I don't know if anybody knows Queens. I was driving down Cross Bay Boulevard 2 weeks ago. Okay. I was going 35 miles an hour, and I get one of those things in the mail because I was 7 or 8 miles over what the speed limit was. I mean, are you freaking kidding me?
You know what you do? You pay that with a check, $1 a month every month. And after 3 months, they're in contract with you and they can't take any more than that. So just send them a check for $1 every month. Say, okay, yeah, I'll pay this. Copy off the ticket. $1 a month. Just fuck with them.
And I wasn't paying anything because we had, not to digress, but we're talking about it in Suffolk County. They had those cameras, those red light cameras, which are completely maylegal, and it was ruled illegal. So they're trying to do that now in Nassau. So I've got like a pile of those things, and I'm like, frig you. I'm not paying them. It's just everywhere you turn. So now, to answer that lovely woman's question, yes, no more income tax. We are not going to be paying any income tax on anything we make. And maybe like Mike said, 14%, whatever it might be, on new luxury items that we decide to buy in the form of a sales tax.
Look, we're all educated. We all know about the IRS. We know that it's a foreign entity. We know that it's registered in Puerto Rico. We know it's not federal. We know it's got nothing to do with our government at all. Nothing. Zero. And we have to think in terms of that people out there don't know this stuff. And I'd like to really break it down, Mike, if you could help as well. Why?
I think
how it's illegal, why it's illegal, where it was registered, where the money goes, all of it, because there's people that are new that are just waking up to this.
Well, Laura actually knows quite a bit about this, but before I let her say it, basically the tax money has always gone to pay off the debtors or the creditors of the United States, which are like Rothschild's Bank of France, Warburg Pincus Bank in Germany, the Crown of England, and the Vatican. They're the ones who have been securing our debt since 1789. Go to the Mel Carmine, go to the Quantum Summit 2.0 live stream, pick that up for a mere $17 a day, $34, and watch my presentation. That's where it all goes to. It never has gone to provide for anything in the United States. It goes through the IRS, a debt collection agency domiciled in Puerto Rico, and goes straight to the overseas banks, just like your votes went overseas to Spain in 2020, where they were manipulated, changed, and sent back to us to elect Joe Biden. But Laura, I know you know about a lot about this.
Yeah, it's not quite as much as you might think. Yeah. I mean, I have kind of bigger picture stuff like the interplanetary corporate conglomerate, the Nazi Draco alliance, the surrender to that in 1952, and the Black Ops projects, the secret space programs, and where is that today? And I mean, that's all something to look at as far as where our money goes. This harvesting and siphoning of energy, currency, and what we see in the school systems, and how all pillars of society have been infiltrated. So you work for a certain job or career, and then a psyops happens and you're asked to comply to it and pass that along to your clients, to your patients, to your students. And that's how it just spreads, and it keeps spreading like a virus. And then, feeding into this system, like you said, Mike, not really being able to get true prosperity or sovereignty when it comes to what you earn. It just funnels back in to keep these, deep state players alive, which engineers these artificial timelines and trajectories that come along with weather weaponry, geoengineering, and the manipulation of things that is not fully done. We still see our skies being sprayed. We still see mysterious fog. We still see cities getting incinerated. And until, some of that gets addressed, the deep state, even though they're cornered, because this outer barrier was put around in 2014, which was the same year they were planning a fake alien invasion. And they were going to sell off 90% of the population to the Dracos, actually, is what the senior advisor to the Earth Alliance has been telling me, that now, that they're encased and they can't leave and none can come in, that things like the pandemic and all these different attempts to depopulate has a lot to do with the way they want to manage the technology that they don't want to give to humanity, because that is going to support high numbers of population, which means a lot of awakening people, which means their demise. So this showdown of forces has a lot to do with, us having this knowledge so that we do not continue to consent. But as long as they're threatening, as long as they're auditing, as long as they're, but now the tables have turned. Now, fortunately, the tables have turned, and slowly but surely it's going to begin to eradicate, their influence. And this dependency bond people have formed with this inverted system is going to begin to be released, so that the powers that stole will no longer have the power, the parasites will no longer have food, and the people will reclaim their power, knowing that they had the power all along. Because one of the biggest things that is siphoned is our creative imagination and our dreams and our visions and our soul calling and why we came. It's funneled into the system by targeting children, medicating them, not allowing them to express their genius or their contributions without being labeled, without it being some sort of disorder. So every swamp's being drained. And with that, more conscious and aware people that are mindful will, continue to cut the cords, and they'll have nothing to grab onto anymore. So it's like a major global exorcism and an eradication of something that has spread its tentacles all over the world in every pillar of society. And like Mike said, these three, the triangulation of this, dark pyramid of the Vatican, the City of London, and Washington, D.C.
Yep, absolutely.
Laura, can you just explain what you meant? Oh, I'm sorry, Mel. Can you just explain what you were saying in 2000? I think you said 2014. There was a protective thing around us. Can you just very briefly, because I'm not sure I understand. I've heard this, but if you could explain it.
Yeah, well, I'm learning more and more about it all the time. So this outer barrier, sphere being alliance, it actually goes back to Eisenhower's administration. With the help of Val Thor, he petitioned to the Guardians, which is a more powerful force than the galactic federations that are, 900 different species, 60 particular species that have a lot to do with us, that the Dracos and Greys hold a lot of power over. But 1929 was the beginning of the abduction exchanges of humans in exchange for putting colonies on the moon and Mars. And when they were starting to show, like, look at the technology we have, you're going to need to surrender. We weren't willing to surrender. And Eisenhower's administration specifically refused to comply with the unconditional surrender agreement to the ICC Nazi Draco Alliance. And with the help of Val Thor, petitioned to the Guardians to put this outer barrier around, which buffers and kind of protects us. Now, some say that's not true. That's not happening. But Dan Cooper, the senior advisor to the Earth Alliance, said the remote viewers can't even see this. The cloak ships of Val Thor, there's 200 ships all around the planet. They're here. But these are almost the only ones that are really on our side. Now, Val and his crew are only observing now. The part that they played that makes a difference to today happened in the 1950s. Is what I've heard. So this outer barrier prevented the fake alien invasion to happen. And even though people are sounding the warning that that's going to happen, there are a lot of false narratives being steered to use that as a possibility. I don't want to name names. And I'm not saying that what I have is like the ultimate truth either. It's just for people to discern. This is what I'm finding out. This guy is legit. We're going to do documentaries. He doesn't even want any money. He's not out for the money. He's not out to even have his name out there. But this outer barrier, sphere being alliance, this is what Corey Good talked about. And we know, okay, what happened to that, but others have, talked about it. And basically, the sphere beings are huge, like plasma orbs that are the size of like Neptune and Jupiter that have encased, this planet so that they can't leave, but none can come in. And this is why they're being cornered and why every thing under the sun is being played on us. But at the same time, we see that they can't really run and they're being exposed. So it's kind of like a detox crisis where it's all being purged to the surface. While the disease is doing everything it can to stay alive, or the virus, of this parasitic influence that has invaded our planet a long, long time ago. But as of 1929, that's when this alliance really started to form. And the deep state is basically the United States. And what China's trying to do is buy the United States to eradicate the deep state. But not a lot of people are going to go along with that because of the communist aspect, but the communist part of it doesn't care about turning the United States into a communist country. They want to buy it because it's a corporation from the deep state because they didn't surrender to the ICC Nazi Draco alliance. And this is where the Earth Alliance and BRICS and all that comes to play. And there's a lot of deeper layers there. And I'm finding out more and more that folks like you can help, sort of like, what do you think of this, and what resonates and what doesn't? But that I hope made some sense.
Yeah. What did Putin call the West? A vampire's ball. You've got all these insane bankers and politicians eating human flesh and drinking their blood and dreaming. I mean, he came right out and said it. He called it, this vampire's ball needs to end. And fortunately, we've now got an ally in Donald Trump who agrees with that. Absolutely. By the way, a little tip. The JFK files are supposed to come out tomorrow. I'm waiting to see if my particular theory about ancient aliens and JFK comes true. So big day tomorrow. Looking forward to that.
Yeah, just not to digress, guys. Got to give a quick shout out to Laura. I don't know if Laura is here. I just got off the phone with her right before the show. I said, hey, I got to go. I had like 1 minute to get here to be on time, which I was on time. So, Laura, if you're out there, giving you a shout out. And maybe Therese from Manhattan is also here. I just sent her a link. She might be here also as well. Anyway, long story short is that we are literally witnessing the death throes of the deep state. A lot of them are running for their lives. They don't have time to collect their taxes. So don't even bother, don't even play into it, because you're not even really paying an IRS. You're paying maybe a law firm that's posing as the IRS. They're trying to collect their last remnants of whatever it is they're trying to collect. But, I would love to see in the next 6 months, as we start to verify, yes, the IRS was a scam, and Donald Trump verifies it, and Elon Musk verifies it. All the big balls that work for the government verifies what we've been saying all along in spades. And then we start to move to, phase 2, phase 3, and to start to see the technology and to start to see the clean food and all of that. Do you think that we'll have to wait this entire year to really see some kind of light at the end of the tunnel? Or do you think it might be sooner than that? Or do you think we'll be waiting until Quantum Summit Part 3?
I just want to say one thing on that real quick. I feel like everybody's going through their own personal divorce with this inverted system that they have been somewhat dependent upon, that we're born into. And it's going to be different. Some people are going to be way more sovereign and way more free of it than others. Some are more entangled for whatever reason, but it's a very individual thing, but it's going to happen, in a widespread kind of way. And I just want to ask real quick, those that are doing payment plans to the IRS, should they just cut those off and just let those go? I think so, right?
I will not give financial advice, but yeah.
Okay, anyway, that was my 2 cents on the light at the end of the tunnel is a personal thing. Are you experiencing your light at the end of your, are you done? Have you removed yourself? Are you not consenting? Have you walked away from that career, that toxic relationship, and all the things that keep you feeding into a dying system? Because the thing is, there are going to be a lot of casualties. The deep state that's dying is taking a lot with them. Those that did not see through it, that complied, that will have a life review and come back and figure it out the next time. But anyway, I don't want to overtalk, but go ahead, Mike or Elisa.
Oh, I was just going to say that, that's an interesting thing because, let's face it, those of us who have been in the know and understand NESARA, we're not going to really talk about what we do with our personal finances but I can guarantee that many in this enlightened area have decided to not recognize the IRS anymore, right? And so again, we're not giving financial advice, but it's interesting because if we believe that Trump and Mnuchin pulled the Federal Reserve into the Treasury Department several years ago, and things are all what they are not, what we think they are, then why would you? And to your point, Laura, about this idea of us doing our own personal work, that's where they always had us, because they had us use all of our energy and consciousness to play out their agenda. Because whether they used fear tactics or forced things upon us, or usually in the form of fear. And now we have the opportunity to be thinking differently and putting out that energy in a different way that raises the vibration so that we can move this process along even quicker, and there's not a lot of us that are awake. I mean, I think the latest estimate is, Laura, you might have an idea, or Mike or Mel, but I think they said it's probably only about 25%, if that. And so there's a lot that depends on us and us putting, raising that vibration to help other people hopefully awaken as well.
Well, the thing is, when this happens, whatever it is, whether it's a big financial transition, whether it's geopolitical, Canada sells out to the US, Greenland, all that stuff, which starts to shift. When it happens, you have to be a leader, because you are, I'm sorry, you already volunteered to be a leader because you're talking about this at all. So it's our responsibility. We will probably do pretty well in this financial transition. And our responsibility that goes with that is that we need to be there to coach people through it that don't do as well, and that weren't awake, and that didn't want to believe this and wanted everything to stay the same. And, there's an attraction to that. There's a pull to that. I personally do not want to become a transhuman. I don't want to become anything other than human, which I really enjoy. I enjoy every aspect of being human, except Taco Bell. I think we could do without Taco Bell. But other than that, it's there. You have to lead. That's why we're all here, the four of us at least. But there's going to be other people too who aren't out there necessarily on podcasts and stuff that have now a responsibility to the people around them to say, okay, this is where you went wrong. This is what you missed. And this is where things are going. So let's get on the train and go enjoy the ride.
Leadership is going to be everything going forward. And so we cannot have too many people wake up too fast. As a matter of fact, we welcome people to wake up as quickly as humanly possible. Take a crash course on what we know, and we've known for myself 37 years. I don't know how long you've been awake, Mike. I know you're up there in age. I think you're about my age, right? I'm 56. I've
been awake since I was watching.
Yeah, I thought you said you were older than that.
No, I'm lying, Laura.
He is older than that, everybody. I know he doesn't look it.
I don't look it, but I am. I've been awake since I was watching, the Gemini missions in black and white on my parents' black and white TV, and then watching the Apollo landings. And I just knew there was something they weren't telling us. Now, did we fake the moon landings? No, we went. What we lied about was why we went there and what we were really interested in, and the alien technology that we brought back. But, I just knew, Mel, I think from the time I was born, I knew that there was something off. I mean, I didn't watch Star Trek and Lost in Space and Time Tunnel and all these shows and then get interested in aliens and time travel. I already was interested. That's why I absorbed these TV shows in the 60s, because I've just always been that way. So, I think all of us are in the same boat in that we came here to be part of this thing that's happening right now, which is really exciting.
So we've
decided
discovered
the
truth.
I definitely was away from a
Know what the
lot.
truth is. Now we're taking on leadership positions and spreading the truth to other people, hoping that other people take leadership positions because Donald Trump is not going to be able to lead by himself.
Right, Mel, and comforting people so they don't give up.
Yes.
You know, the old world is nothing to be. We shouldn't grieve the old world because it sucked in a lot of ways.
I know, but people will, and there has to be some kind of transition team. So people that are building healing centers, that are working, on like working with really powerful tools and modalities are going to be helpful. People that understand the depth of PTSD that comes with being indoctrinated, programmed, what's happened in the schools too, in the gifted and talented programs that people have been MyLabbed, and like all these people that are waking up to like 20 and backs and memories of being abducted. I mean, this is not just a few people that are out there talking about their stories. We're talking millions of people. Yeah. So we're going to need to address that kind of thing. Victims that are coming forward, the medical industry is going to have to shift and accommodate this level of awareness and understanding of how to address this kind of transition, and those awakening to the horrors, the shock of it all. And yes, the old system is definitely, like, let it go, because this is not a reunion that is outside of you. This is a reunion to your truth, to who you truly are, your greater potential. Your junk DNA is not junk. This is about reclaiming all that you are. You don't have to adopt some belief system or some conspiracy theory. This is not about a discomfort and having to adopt something that is different than what you learned. It's about learning about you and who you are, what your galactic origins are, what the bigger picture is, what this planet is really all about. And maybe we'll take, third period class galactic history. And like, I know I mentioned that at the talk, but this is something to celebrate. But the addiction matrix, there's going to be withdrawal, of all the things that you've relied upon to feel okay, coping mechanisms that have been so desensitized from being, harmful, because it's just, we're just humans and this is what we consume. When we let go of that, yes, it's going to be a little alarming, but how to walk through that dark night of the soul, how to go through that initiation and not be afraid of it and realize it's a beautiful passage that they have been trying to cause us to deny. Which
I don't know if I can live in a world without Dr. Pepper, Laura. I don't know.
Oh, yeah, which causes us to...
Maybe it will be healthy, though. Its ingredients will be water, sugar, and caramel or something.
But the reason the 12th house in the zodiac, rules the mystical, the unseen realms, the multidimensional, and the creative imagination, also rules hospitals and prisons, because we don't give our children and ourselves permission to explore that. So we've been in the inversion and shadow side of so much. So anyway, I'll shut up there. But yeah, better ingredients. And if Dr. Pepper works, though, mind over matter, right?
Well, yeah, hopefully the med beds, when they come in, I'll just be able to get rid of that sugar addiction and give it up. But it's
I mean, we all have our vices. I'm not completely free of mine.
No, it's hard.
It's hard.
Yeah, what do you think of the videos that are popping up all over X.com of the illegal aliens occupying our streets, basically not allowing people who have a JOB to get home on time? They're blocking the streets all over Los Angeles. They're Mexicans. They're from Guatemala. They're from El Salvador. I'm not being racist here. I'm just telling you what these people are and who they are. I mean, that's probably a great way to win minds and hearts and allow them to stay here, right? What do you think about that?
Well, do you remember the movie Soylent Green? Did you ever see that one with Charlton Heston? Yeah. Massive overpopulation, right? So when the people start rioting because they didn't get enough Soylent Green, right? They say, call in the scoops, right? And there's these big garbage trucks with huge scoops on them. They just come in and they scoop the people up and dump them. And guess what they ended up being? Soylent Green, right? So I'm all for that. Let's send in the scoops. Whenever I see these protests, I'm always like, send in the scoops. Just go out there, scoop them up, and then send them back wherever they came in from.
That's been invasion of the body snatchers, that's for sure. As far as MVP rate horror flicks that we're living.
Yeah.
So I got to go, you guys. If you keep talking and everything, I look forward to being able to stay for the length of it next time, and I'm glad to be a part of this roundtable.
All right.
Sure. Typically, we go about an hour and 10 minutes, an hour and 20 minutes.
Okay, cool. Well, next time I'll be on for the whole thing, and Mike will talk about what. All right.
Yeah, I'll text you later. Yeah.
All right. Bye.
Thank you. All right. Awesome. So I might be going to the proper party. I'm not sure yet, which is with 007. We're trying to finalize that. I'm waiting to hear back from you, dude. I don't know wherever you're at. So I just sent them a message this morning. I'd like to finalize that. That's going to be in Venice on the 28th, the 29th, and the 30th. I got a pretty busy travel schedule. We're planning a trip also to go and interview one of the founders of a company called Bit Club, which was a multi-level marketing company. And I believe they wrongfully arrested this guy because the CIA and the FBI, what do? They basically lie. So this guy's got an incredible story to tell. So I'm going to be interviewing him via Zoom first, and then my second interview most likely will be in person in Denver, Colorado. That's a guy by the name of Joby Weeks. You guys can look him up. Amazing.
Where are you going, Mel? Did you say Venice, Italy? Is that where you're going?
No, Venice, Florida.
Oh, okay, Venice.
The proper party, 007, XRP 007 is having a party there. And so he's inviting a bunch of people. So I'm waiting to hear back.
I know I'm not going to be on that list. So
yeah, I get on a lot of lists these days. But anyway,
I know I won't be on that one.
So I'm not sure if I'm going to do the XRP party, XRP Las Vegas. I mean, I might just go and hang out in the hallways and meet some of our fan base. I don't think I'm really going to learn a lot.
Well, I would love to have you here. We'll go to dinner at the Golden Steer or something and have a blast. And,
that would be fun.
It'd be great if you came out.
What is the Golden Steer? Talk to me. Is that like?
It's on Sahara. It's the most famous old school steakhouse in Vegas. You know, Frank Sinatra was his favorite steakhouse, and it's still there on Sahara, just past right near the Stratosphere, the Strat, and right on Sahara and Las Vegas Boulevard, next to the Ahern, which is the conservative Trump hotel in Las Vegas, where they hosted the Nevada Republican Party election night party. So it's right there. It's a great old traditional place, and it takes 3 months to get a reservation. So it's popular. Now it'll cost you $500, but for two people. But believe me, it's a phenomenal restaurant.
So this is basically I want to take the show in a different direction. And I'm doing this live. I'm just basically having a meeting with you guys, just thinking out loud, because there's a lot of people out there that would love to jump into leadership positions, and they need that little push. You know what I mean? So if you feel that you are talented and you know what you're talking about, and you've been awake for a long time, and you're having these conversations with people all over the place, and these are potentially podcasts that never get recorded, and you would like to be on the show, we'd like to give you a crack. Get in touch with either Elisa or myself or Mike Barra. If it's one of your fans or one of your fans, Elisa, that's fine too. I want to develop new talent. I want people to really get out there. I'm very serious when I say, please get a microphone. We need leaders. This country, this planet has run amok. It's upside down. We need as many hands on deck as possible. To think that we're, supermen here and superwomen, we could do it all by ourselves and we don't need anybody, and we need all of the limelight. That is nothing can be further than the truth. Believe me when I tell you that. So if you think you would like to be on the show, Mike, I'm sure you have quite a few fans. Elisa, I'm sure you're developing an incredible fan base. People are starting to notice who you are, and she is a superstar. There's no question about that. And you'll see her at the Quantum Summit Part 3. We don't know exactly where that's going to land yet, but she's going to be one of our MCs. We're probably going to think about bringing in Chip from On the Chain. I think he was awesome. Chip and Jeff, that they could probably play in as MCs as well as being on panels. So that's going to be very, very exciting. Orlando could very well be one of the areas. Is Elisa dropping off? Her internet's been acting up.
She's frozen, but she's not dropping off yet.
She's frozen? Okay, she's frozen in time. Love
there
it.
You are. Hey, there she goes.
Yeah. You're going to have to call that your local New York internet company and tell them to increase the juice just a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe. She dropped off. I knew that was going to happen. She'll probably pop right back in. Sorry, guys, it's live television. Never a dull moment. So overall, I thought it was a great show again, and I think it will catch on in popularity as time goes.
It will, of course. Well, it's got all of us on it, and with Laura now, we're just
yeah. By the way, I was watching
Chop Liver Victoria. But,
I was watching the replays, the actual replays of the entire Quantum Summit are going to be up and running. As a matter of fact, here she is. Let me see. I just heard a beep, and there she is.
I'm back.
You're back.
I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, you need more juice. You need at least the speed of about 50 megs upload, and you need a minimum 50 megs download.
Okay, and this is just through my provider.
Local provider, yeah. Just call them. They'll probably charge you an extra $5.96 a month, whatever it is, and they'll increase the volume accordingly. But
cool.
Yeah, other than that. So what do you guys think about bringing some new people who might want to become podcasters and could be the future podcasters of tomorrow?
Well, I love it. And I'll tell you why. Because as we've seen, I hope I don't drop, as we've seen with Jess, the garage guy, there are so many people out there that want to be part and have thoughts and are educated and follow things and have been following things for so long. So it's a great way to give them a platform to speak.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, we're going to be doing something with Jess in a live space on x.com. I just got to line it all up with him, and you guys will be invited. We're going to promote it in advance. We're going to have a thumbnail, etc. The entire Quantum Summit, you can watch it at QFS 1776 as of tomorrow. Already, the first day has already been done. The voice and the audio didn't quite line up, so we had to do some editing to make that happen. So $29.17. You understand, 17 cents. You know what team we are on, and so you'll be able to watch Mike, which Mike did a fabulous job. What an incredible presentation, Mike. My hat is off to you. Super duper presentation. I mean, we had 107 come in live through Zoom. We had Jess, the guy in the garage, come live through Zoom. I'm trying to get him to come to the Quantum Summit Part 3. I even bribed him and told him that I would fly Ron, his cow, in first class and put him in the backyard. And hey, I don't know if he's going to be able to make it. That would be amazing. Imagine having him on stage with 107. I think that would be amazing.
Yeah. Okay, I'm not gonna touch that. So
my nose is itching. That means I'm going to get into a fight with somebody. I'm very superstitious. Italian thing. Don't try to
okay. All right.
Yeah.
Well,
there's somebody in the chat that's saying that they're very close to me. Dude, come and see me at Staying Alive right up the road there in Cape Canaveral. I don't know how far you are from Cape Canaveral. I know that I saw the message earlier. I think he says he's in Pasco County, Florida, north of Tampa. You're only 3 hours away, dude. Just drive across the state, come see me, and we'll maybe do a little bit of sushi. You know, it's funny, the aftermath of the entire thing of people who stayed an extra 5 days. I got Razor, who extended his vacation. Now he's not leaving this Wednesday. He's leaving the following Wednesday. And, you know, I want to take you out for dinner and I want to take you out for breakfast. It's like really difficult to lose weight when you're in my line of business.
Yeah,
you know?
I can testify to that.
Yeah. So, but I have to figure out a way to do it. I have a place here that melts the fat away. Supposedly they got some kind of $100,000 machine, and then you pee the fat away. Hopefully it works. Maybe I'll do an overdose of that.
When are you going to that?
If it works, send me a before and after picture. I'll come down and do it.
I got to do something because I mean, you know, your fans invite you to dinner. You can't say no. It would be rude. You know what I mean? So I being that I'm Italian and I like to eat, I wish I could figure out a way to limit myself and just have one sushi roll and maybe you know, a conch salad and call it a day. But you know, just I just have a tendency to overindulge.
Well, let me tell you. Let me ask you a question. Let's assume you weren't married and you were on a date with Amaranth, let's say, okay, or some celebrity crush, and And would you just stop at one with, or would you try to go as many times as you could? Why limit yourself when something is delicious and right in front of you? I mean, that's life, right?
I know.
You're here to enjoy life, and the reason why it has negative consequences for guys like you and me, a lot of it is because of the unhealthy stuff they put in it. So, I wasn't. Let's just be kind to yourself, Mel. It's okay.
Yeah.
Have that second piece of sushi. Nobody's really going to be upset with you.
Yes, absolutely. Well, it would be nice that when you come out of the med bed, they can, punch a couple of buttons and say, okay, increase Mel's metabolism by 10x or 12x, whatever,
or even just, set your body fat percentage and keep it there at 10 or 15 or something healthy, and you're good. I don't think 10's actually healthy. I think you shouldn't be 10 unless you're an athlete or something. But
and we're still working on Grant Cardone. I don't know why. There's been communication going back and forth a little bit with his personal assistant. Now she's becoming a gatekeeper for some reason, but I will get to him at some point. I will see him again in one of the live chat rooms. He happens to like Mel Carmine. I know he does. And so at some point, I'm still shaking a cold, by the way. I got sick for like 4 days.
Ivermectin, man. Are you on the big eye?
Dude, I took a dosage of ivermectin last night that they would give to an actual horse. I took the whole entire syringe.
You should just get the pills, buddy. It's easier than shooting yourself.
Then the gel.
It's easy. Just take the pills. Yeah, that's what I do.
I take the gel. I like the.
Get them from Dr. Brooks Agnew. You know Brooks. Get them from Brooks.
Yeah,
Agnew.
I like the way it tastes.
You could, and I have a source now too. I have a source now too that I wanted to talk to you about, Mel.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah, Brooks is great. I'll get you 100 pills for like $80, and from the biggest pharmacy in the world, and it's we
got to put all of this stuff inside QFS1776.com. Build out the storefront, because people need to get this stuff through the nice people, the people that are bringing them the information, the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help us God. And we're trying to bring more truthers into the community. We don't care if you come on board with us and we discover you and you become bigger than Elisa, bigger than Mike Barra, bigger than Mel Carmine, bigger than Jess, the guy in the garage combined. Wonderful. That's what we want. That's what we need. Okay. Mm-hmm. That's how you defeat the New World Order. This is not about a penis contest. This is not about a popularity contest.
Oh, it is for me.
It's about destroying the New World Order at all costs, whatever it takes.
Absolutely.
I'm going to tell you right now, these bastards, these communist bastards, okay, they're in this, and they're committed. They're willing to die for their cause. And if you're going to compete with that, you got to be willing to die for your cause.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Question is, are you willing to die for your cause? Well, you know what? Freedom ain't free.
Yep.
And you know what?
The answer is yes, I am, but I'd rather not.
I'd rather not, and I know I'm not. I'm always packing some heat. You know what I'm saying?
What was it that the imp said in Game of Thrones? What was it the imp said in Game of Thrones? He said, "There's a bunch of brave men on the other side of that wall. There's a bunch of brave men who believe in their cause. Let's go out and kill them."
Exactly, and they're committed.
And what's that expression? I'd rather die standing than live kneeling.
I'd rather die on my feet than be on my knees like a little bitch.
Yeah.
No, please. Bullshit for that. So, but anyway, guys, I think it was real. We're at the 1 hour, 8 minute mark. Guys, thank you for coming and spread the word. The show is going to be on. We're literally in a preliminary stage of building a media company. We're going to build something that's very dynamic. We want to include a lot of you. I know there's a lot because you guys come to my center and then you get into these conversations with me. I think I'm going to become a one-man show where I have my little bag that I carry all my guns with. There's still enough room in there for a little fold-up tripod. I got my latest iPhone. I got to have an extra battery charge and make sure this thing's constantly fully charged, because we get into these great conversations and they just go by the wayside. And these are great podcasts. These are just regular, ordinary people who are just as smart as all of us, if not smarter in many cases. That's true. And so to capture it all on film, I mean, look, my life has become, I'm out in the public. I'm out in the open. You can't put me back in Pandora's box. I think I outgrew it anyway. I think I gained too much weight. Even if you wanted to put me back in the box, the box is not big enough. No, I didn't gain that much weight, but I did gain again. Listen, when you're, like I said, when you're in my line of work and you're constantly surrounded by people who want to feed you and want to hang out with you,
I know, yeah,
and want to ask you a lot of questions because they think you know more than they, and then you find out that they know more than you. Get it all on film. I mean, you'll get even the food all on film.
Yeah.
That would be great.
Absolutely. It was great. Thank you guys. And we'll catch you on the next one. Spread it out there, man. Let's beat these fucking algorithms.
Let's make this show big.
Rumble,
Let's go big.
Rumble, man. I mean, even Rumble is playing now, is playing these games. And they've been doing it for a while. I know they've been doing it to me. That's for sure. But we'll catch you guys on the next one. Thank you.